Bruce with Bruce's Bees. Wow, all the way from Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Oh, good to see you.
You too.
We are kind of gathered up at this private convergence of content creators like me and you, and then other people from bee companies that are here, kind of talking secretively, private meeting, right?
That's right.
This has been really great. We've had a good opportunity to share with each other and kind of collaborate together. I'm really encouraged and inspired by what's going on here today. How about you?
Yeah, I am too. The community that's growing every day is pretty awesome.
And it's good that we can come together and just talk. Kind of, it's not a real structured. There's no speakers, but we're just hanging out, sharing ideas, and talking about what's going on. But I'll tell you what, I really appreciate your channel and what you do. And
Well, I appreciate you watching.
yeah, it's great. And of course, you and Brian and Greg did a great job helping me get started live stream. You're one of my live stream creators to help me figure all that out, so I appreciate that.
You came on our channel one night, I think.
I did. I remember that.
Was that your first time doing it, or yeah, I think it was.
It was my first time to do a live stream, and then you guys taught me how to do my own. So
that was awesome. Yeah.
that's great. So, what's it like for you being here? Do you really?
Oh, I've wanted to get up here for a while, but it's just so far, and
Yeah.
we've been tossing the idea around for a while,
Yeah.
and finally just decided on a date and put it together, and Brian and Greg are just great to work with.
Yeah, they are.
They do,
Yeah.
so.
When they said I could invite 5 gold ticket people for my channel, because I said, hey, can I put an announcement and invite my channel? They were like, no, but I invited 5. But if each of us put out the invitation for people to come and be a part of this next year,
Yeah.
it would be huge, wouldn't it?
It could be. It could get out of control.
I think we should, because I think there are people here that, like I said, got golden tickets to be here, and they're enjoying it. They're having time of their
It's
life.
been great.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bruce. I think I appreciate you a lot.
Thanks for what you do.
All right. Thank you, Bruce.
I'm glad to be a part of the big squad.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And I'm here with Nina, and Nina is everything beekeeping. You're known probably best for...
Almost everything. I do queens, I do nukes. I'm in downtown Columbus.
Oh.
I am the Franklin County Bee Inspector. I take care of all the parks around me. The
Yep.
Franklin County, Franklin Park Conservatory, the Sciotas. I run about 60 beehives
Yep.
off the highway.
Yep.
And I also mentor a lot of the inner city kids.
You teach some bee classes too?
I do. They come and mess with my hives and start to knock them over, and then I go round them up.
Yeah,
and
I know.
educate,
Yeah.
Which is really crazy, because they've never had fresh honey before, and then once they do, they're like, we love the beekeeper.
Oh, yeah.
And I also do the articles from the 1800s and Bees and Women for the Bee Culture magazine.
We both write for Bee Culture.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I'll have to start reading your article now.
Yeah, I read yours.
Oh, okay.
But most of the guys pass it by. But what's
Yeah.
really cool about these articles is there's a lot of men involved in them. Okay?
Oh, yeah, I get it.
And
yeah. Husbands, right? Like
yeah, like the husbands, like
Yeah.
A.I. Root,
Right.
and or Langstroth. Like in the early days, they would get the material from Langstroth.
Oh, have you done one on Mrs. Langstroth?
No, not yet.
Is there a Mrs. Langstroth?
There was, but I don't think.
I don't know much about her. Oh, okay.
She is.
Yeah.
I'm doing one on Mrs. Root, A.I. Root right now.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And she's really an interesting one because she was in the background. And there was no
Yeah.
pictures of her until after her death.
Yeah.
And nobody even really talked about her. So I found pictures of her when she was young, middle-aged, and older. So I'm making it behind every great man is a great woman.
Oh.
So I'm gonna do that article.
That's right. Now, the women in beekeeping is really expanding, I believe.
It is. But I like the ones from the 1800s so that we can learn from them.
Oh, yeah.
Because these
Yeah.
women had grit.
Yeah.
So I will get into like the 1900s. I still
Okay.
have like Sue Kobe to do. I told her.
Oh, yeah,
I've got all,
yeah,
but
okay.
I'll probably be 100 years old by the time I get it. But
Yeah.
it's all good. It's
Well,
good.
on my channel, YouTube statistics say that I think it's almost half and half.
It is half and half.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's
Women
a lot of
and-
women
man.
beekeepers today.
That's really good
They're
to see.
Very, very.
Really good to
important.
see. I
A
know.
lot more than I've seen in the last 20 years
absolutely.
when I started.
Yeah, I know.
So there's a lot of good women beekeepers. And they also have grit too, and
Hey.
a lot of them are put in the back.
Being an inspector, can you go on record as saying women make better beekeepers?
I can say that because not the women in the 1800s said it. So
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna follow them.
You just say what they said, and if you have a
I
problem,
believe 'em.
take it up with those people,
yeah,
right?
I believe them. But yeah, the women would always say that they were the ones that made their husbands a great beekeeper.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, well.
I don't know. I think women have more of a nurturing.
They do. That's what I was going to say.
And they take care of them. They're out there looking at them.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe we overdo it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
good. So being a state inspector, what kind of stuff are you seeing this year in hives in Ohio?
Actually, I'm seeing a lot of good hives this year, a lot of honey.
All right.
I saw wax moth early, which I haven't seen in a while.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of wax moth out there.
How about small hive beetle?
I haven't seen the small hive beetle that
Oh,
much.
should come to my house.
Yeah, last year we had a big outbreak of
Oh, did you really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen it that bad this year.
Yeah.
I'm actually just seeing a lot of beekeepers that are new beginner beekeepers
Yep.
that you teach
Yep.
that don't know what to do because they've never had a good honey flow like we've had
Oh, yeah.
this year. And they weren't staying on top
Oh,
of the ball.
yeah, I
And they
agree.
didn't put their supers out.
Yeah.
And they didn't quite understand it because
So-
they've never really had such a great honey
Bumper
flow
crop.
that kept them going.
A lot of swarming or what?
A lot of swarming
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
yeah,
That's cool.
because every year they were kind of doing the same thing, but this year was unusual.
Yeah.
Because the weather was so.
Yeah. Well, as soon as I got here, you're one of the first people that I met that I didn't know, and you're so outgoing and you're so fun to be with.
Thank you.
I just had to have you on my channel today.
You know, I
so-
love watching you.
Well, thank you. Thanks
yeah,
for watching.
I do.
All right.
Yeah. And your daughter, her hair color is the color of one of my queens.
Oh, wow.
Which is
There you
nice.
go.
I
Yeah.
have to name one after her.
Name it Caree.
Caree.
K-A-R-E-E. Caree.
Caree.
Not Carrie. Caree.
Caree.
Yeah. All right. Good to
Thank
see you,
you.
Nina. Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
So we're now introducing a new dial. You see down here in the bottom, this is the iteration of the Queen Right dial where there's two dials. You still see the same Queen Right dial selector on the right hand side, okay, have you had before on the left side for your left. And on the right hand side you see a new selector. Most of us mark our queens by year and color. So if you have a queen this year that you marked, you typically are going to mark her, unless you're Greg Burns and you mark them pink, you're going to mark them red, because that's the standard that most beekeepers use. That's the year 3 and 6 when it ends, or 3 and 8, excuse me. So that's why you have the different selection on the right hand side of the dial. So really when you look at a colony and this dial's on the front of your colony, you can do a quick glance and see that it actually is a mated queen from 2013. For those that do queen mating, you see on the right hand side of this, we have the Queen Right mating dial now. This dial on this side allows someone who's either a queen mating or a queen breeder, or just a common person who's a beekeeper who wants to track when they need to get in their hive, when they actually need to see what's going on, when that queen should be ready after they've mated that queen, or they've installed that cell, or they've spotted a virgin or something along those lines. And it can be very simply done by color coding in the words that you see here. Today's the 16th. If we've opened our hive up and we put a cell in, a cap cell, we know that we have X amount of days till the next month. In fact, the 8th of the next month, by the 8th, we should have a mated queen running around laying eggs. You should have eggs. As far as installing them, a little smoke, you select the area where you want it. And you want to tighten it all the way down. Yeah. And then back it off a little bit. Just enough so that the dials will stay from, and then you're going to select Queen Right 2023.
Oh, Korhan, how are you, buddy?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Oh, you know what? I decided when they asked me to come here to this convergence of content creators, and they said a few companies would be here. And when I saw that you were going to be here, I said, I'm going to go. You're the reason I'm here, because I thought, I like Korhan a lot. I'm going to be here with you.
Thank you. I like being a part of this thing.
Yeah, I do
It's just
too.
like, it is really like a different level of friendship that's happening.
Oh, I know.
Here.
It is crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
It is. We
I
all
know.
have something in common. We all have this hobby. We all have this like passion, and
Yeah.
just like, and that brought us together.
Yep.
And
I know.
we may have differences, but in here we're all just enjoying the same thing.
Yeah. So if you don't know Korhan, he is actually, look at that. How do I get one of your shirts? Aime Hive owner and creator, developer of Aime.
The improver of FMA.
Oh, the improver? Okay. Yeah. Well,
So,
there you go.
It's my family. It's our family company. Apiary is our it's our family brand, and we develop our hives, and we're constantly improving stuff. And just I introduced I think 1 or 2 products ever since we last talked.
Oh,
And
really?
actually,
Yeah.
we have new hive entrances and stuff. So,
Yeah. So I thought when I saw you at EAS, it was hilarious. Because I was telling you, I didn't know who you were, right? And I'm like, I got one of your hives, but it was confusing. I didn't know this. I didn't read the instructions. And you were like, did you take off the pollen trap? And I'm like, there's a pollen trap? And you were like, oh no, is your hive alive? I was like, yeah, it's alive. You need to go home and take your pollen trap off. It's on the bottom. Because the bottom board's kind of built into the deep, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I went back and it was not pretty. It was just so cram-packed full of pollen, small hive beetles, wax moth larvae. It was hard to pull out. So I'm glad you told me that.
Well, we actually have a new entrance reducer that, like, even if you forget to put the take the pollen trap out,
Yeah.
you can still have the the colony enter from separate locations, so it doesn't collect all the pollen.
Oh,
So we
I
now
see.
have a
I
very
see.
little
Yeah.
entrance that you can
All right.
see.
Well, here's the deal.
Uh-huh.
There are people like me that do not read instructions. When I went back and read your instructions, it was in there, right?
It wasn't there.
So what you need is a big red sticker, a big oval sticker that says, for those of you that do not read instructions, you got to read this one. Take the pollen trap out.
That's that was one of the feedbacks actually that
Yeah.
like in meetings like this, in
Yeah.
events like this, I learned a lot about how
Okay.
people use my products and
Yeah.
it was like how I had it in mind and how it is being used.
Exactly. It's just going to be different. What about, can you ship it with it out?
I can't.
You can? Okay.
Because it's just
Yeah,
it
it's
takes
one
a
more-
long time.
yeah,
It takes
yeah.
a long time
Okay.
for the product to
Yeah.
just, like, go to the customer, and I just don't want it to be warped or bent. So
I agree.
when
I
you
agree.
get it,
Yeah.
I want it to be
Yeah.
in the perfect shape.
Well, let me say this about the Aime hive. I only have one, but I got to tell you, I love it. In my mind, as a master beekeeper, it has more benefits to the bees. And I know I don't want you to say that. I'm telling you what I've observed. It allows it to be kept warmer or cooler, less condensation. It has a lot of benefits to me. It's plastic. I like that. It lasts forever. But I look forward to running more of those Aime hives. And but the real selling point is you. It really is. Your personality and your willingness to sit there and listen to my complaints about, I didn't know what these two little things were. And you're like, they're just helping you space out the frames, you know. Oh, I don't need them? You were patient with me.
Oh no, it's just like I need to know what you think of my product. So like my whole purpose is to make your experience a better experience.
Yeah, I know.
Like I keep saying this. This is a hobby. This should not be a chore. You should enjoy what you're doing. And the bees, the survival rate is much higher.
Yeah, I
so
know.
they're gonna do better in the winter. But like, what am I adding you? What kind of value am I bringing to you? And that's like the ease of use. And, if you tell me that wasn't easy to use, that is my problem to solve it.
Hey, it's good to see you, buddy.
Good seeing you.
I look forward to being with you again. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Greg, what are you gonna do? What's going on here?
So this is a really special bee tree. I know it might not look impressive, but this was a tree that somebody called and said, hey, can you save these bees? We had to cut this tree down, and there's a ton of bees. I'm like, okay, cool, let's go check it out. So we went and to pick up this tree, and we brought it back to the old farm. And we took the postal auger on the tractor and wallowed out a big hole, and then replanted the tree in the same orientation and everything. Put it back in the ground, and this was an enormous learning opportunity for so many years on learning what are bees actually doing in bee tree. It's one thing to read a book. It's one thing to listen to somebody talk about it or research that somebody else did. It's one thing to actually have a bee tree that you're doing nothing but learning from. We had several of these, and what we learned from this tree, we were just talking about it with Thomas at the Free Range Art Farm, is bees are opportunists, and they made the best of the situation that they were in this tree. These bees were in here for a couple years. You can see, look at all the propolis on the front part of this log where their entrance. Absolutely gorgeous. I've got video. It was a piece of living art, is what this tree was, and I learned a lot. And eventually, what happened on this particular log? This is sassafras, so it's really light. Let's see if we can roll it this way.
Gosh, it is. Even
It is light.
I couldn't live that.
Because he's not a very strong guy of the Burns family.
He's got all the looks and none of the
Yeah.
What eventually happened is a split formed in that tree, and it was too much light, too much air for the bees, and they eventually just absconded and left. Us as beekeepers, when we were taking bees, whether it's a swarm, no matter what we're doing, and put them into a box, when we look at the survival rates of these particular trees, it was poor. It goes back to showing that a lot of these feral colonies in these trees only had a 30% survival rate year after year on the swarms that actually left out of there. Us as beekeepers, this completely rearranged my mental framework on what bees do in nature and what our relationship as stewards, how that actually folds together, meaning they're not actually doing as good as we think they are
People
in
catching
nature.
swarms and saying, oh, swarms is the way to go.
Right.
I don't chase swarms. Now I know why I don't. Because eventually they've got the same issues that everybody else is having, and they're going to end up petering out.
There is no amount of book or
Yeah,
anything
right.
else that would have, I could have only, I'm stubborn.
Wow, interesting.
I only could learn this by putting the bee tree and studying it and spending time in a thinking chair and watching and trying to figure
Right.
out what are they doing, what are they doing, what are they doing. So in short, I think we have a responsibility to do the best that we can. If we are taking these bees out of this tree, out of the swarm, we're putting into a box, it is my opinion, it is our responsibility to give those bees their best life. And as silly as it sounds, I want those bees to live their best bee life while they're under our care. The reason I wanted to bring it and share this with you is that what I want to do is we're going to cut this into cookies.
Not much.
Air goes on the inside.
Nasty.
That's the cap. The very top of the head of the colony was right here going down.
Tom Nolan, all the way from Canada? Wow.
Yeah, we got a couple of manufacturers invited here, and it was
Yeah.
a good opportunity to come talk about our product. And,
Formic Pro.
oh, you know,
How did you get that Canadian flag in here?
Ian Stepler sent that down.
Oh, did he really?
Ian-
Why isn't Ian here? Ian, where are you, buddy?
This is probably a really busy time for Ian Stepler.
Well, yeah, I like Ian a lot. He's fun to be with. So, been using some Formic Pro this year, having good results with it.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to use some expired Formic Pro. All right, now don't say anything. So I thought, it's a year old. It's still probably going to work okay. I'm going to use this. It probably won't work as good. But I remember talking to you at EAS, and you said you don't want to use it at the expiration date because it is more powerful, more
Pro. Yeah.
more volatile or something like that, isn't it?
Well, with our original formulation with the Mite Away Quick Fix, particularly with that one, with the formic acid itself is a pretty stable compound.
Formic acid is stable. Yeah, it doesn't change.
The polysaccharide gel pad, what happens is as it ages, it starts to break down.
That's what I figured.
So basically what's happening is once we get at the expiry date or past the expiry date, instead of vaporing off slowly over a 7
It's just like
period,
boom in it. Yeah.
so it becomes
Wow.
like a flash treatment. So it becomes very hard on the bees.
Does it say that on the label or something? Or it just
It
says,
doesn't, and basically we've got to meet the label standard by saying don't use it past the expiry date. There's always a reason for not using it.
there's a reason, but everybody approaches it like milk in the kitchen. It's like, it's a few days old. I'm going to drink the milk anyway.
Yeah, with our product, it's a little different.
It's a little different.
It's a little stronger. Not
So
a lot
I imagine there are people out there that are using it because, you buy a pack, you have a bunch left over, keep it for a year, use it next year, and they don't realize this. And it could be why people might lose a little bit of brood or their queen, and they don't realize they actually use it in the wrong way.
Yeah, like our Formic Pro is an improved version. I mean, it is much more stable than the Mite. But again, the expiry date is still, the label is the law.
Yeah.
You could probably push it a little bit past the expiry date.
Yeah.
But for good practice, no. If it's a year old or you're thinking of using it next year, no, you're opening yourself up for trouble.
Yeah. And I appreciate what you were saying in there about that paper wrap. You take it out of the little what is it, like aluminum
packaging, our
packaging?
mylar foil. You take
Mylar foil, but don't take the paper off the next thing, you know?
no, that's
Leave it on there, people.
integral part of our
Yeah.
product.
Well, thank you, Tom. Good to be with you. Glad that we're friends.
Yeah.
Where are we going to be next time together? Where are we at next?
I don't know. I'm in Georgia next week, and then I'm off to Calgary for our big WAS conference in Calgary.
Well, I'll miss you. I won't be up there.
January at the North American Bee Expo.
Honeybee Expo, yeah, with Cayman. Looking forward to it.
That's going to be even bigger than
I think they've already sold 2,000 tickets with Cayman. That's great.
Looking forward to that one.
I'll see you there. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you. To me, beekeeping was a hobby that developed into something by accident. And I started making videos on YouTube back in 2008, only a couple of years after YouTube started. And I was just kind of figuring stuff out and blogging about it in a video format. And it never really became anything for many, many years. And then all at once it became something. And, you know, I mean, I think I did it for 10 or 15 years before it really was like, oh, this could be something, you know? And so it was really inspiring for me to start hearing back from you guys that watch my channel, like, oh, you helped me get started in beekeeping, or you helped me with this and that. And that really began to motivate me to think that I'm having an influence on people in beekeeping and getting people to not only start beekeeping, but keep healthier bees, make fewer mistakes. And I often, you know, spend my day just looking at a camera by myself, or I'm in a hive by myself. And I'm a very extrovert. I'm very social. So it kills me just to spend my whole day alone in a hive, alone behind a camera. So coming here today and being a part of this where I see so many of you, give yourselves a hand. This is great and very inspiring.